All right, thank you all for being here again. We had a really great game Friday night against Cheyenne. We got to see a lot of good things. We got to see ourselves get pressured in ways we hadn't been pressured yet this year, and so it was a great testament to the preparation our coaches had put in and then the preparation our kids had put in over the last couple of weeks. We're looking forward to homecoming, always a little bit of a different game, always a fun game to be a part of this Friday night. With that, I'm open for questions.
Ingalls Media. So you guys played against Cheyenne on Friday. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Do you have any players that stood out to you necessarily during that game?
Yeah, we have quite a few. On the defensive side of the ball, who kind of stood out statistically would be Jackson Combs, 2 interceptions, several tackles. One of those interceptions actually got the scoring started for us. He returned it for a touchdown. I believe Keegan Northern had somewhere around 11 or 12 tackles. Isaac Berry pushed, and they kind of ran away from him, so he didn't get on the stat line a lot, but his presence was made well aware. On the offensive side of the ball, I want to commend Deshaun Dunnigan, Reese Frick, and Isaac Berry. We ran the ball 44 times, and they were in on almost every one of them. Logan Simon played probably 115 snaps Friday night between offense and defense. And Keegan Northern played somewhere around that as well when you add in offensive, defensive snaps. So we had a lot of guys that at the end of the day we want to give a big shout out to, because trying to get 124 plays out of anybody is a tough ask, and we had several guys that did that, or all but did that with, no complaining whatsoever.
Mia Perez, Ingalls Media. This has been your 3rd win, and you had 3 games so far. How do you feel, and do you think the players that you named right now, do you think they've been a big help for that?
Yeah, anytime we can get a win is always great. If we're 3 games in with 3 wins, it's a great feeling. Our players have stepped up to every challenge that has been presented to them. They've bought into our program and what we're wanting to build and the culture we're wanting to continue here. At the end of the day, if we didn't have the kids that we have, I don't know that we're at the same spot that we're at. These wins all go towards to the kids, because we can put a game plan in every week, but if we don't have kids that can execute it, it doesn't do us any good to put that in. And so, it's all on the kids. They're the ones going out there and winning those games.
So you mentioned challenges that your players executed well. What would be specific challenges that they faced?
Just getting tired is one. We ran a total of 58 plays on offense total in weeks 1 and 2 combined, and on offense alone Friday night we ran 61. And we showed that we had good conditioning, which is great. Our defense, we faced the pass game a lot more on Friday than what we had in the past 2 weeks, and they stepped up to it. Didn't allow any real big plays, and so that goes, again, to the preparation Coach Steinmetz, Coach Pelishek have been putting in with our defense. And just having to, I think on offense we ran 44 run plays. Trying to block for 44 times in a night is a tough ask of anybody, and it's tough to ask kids that are playing both ways to do that. But our kids stepped up, and they faced those challenges head on, and in my opinion succeeded in most of them.
Mia Perez, you said that you had 50-something plays, but is it really hard for you to make up all those plays for different?
It's kind of a loaded question. Even running, I think 61 plays, we didn't run 61 different plays. A lot of them are pretty similar to each other. And so, the one thing that I've asked our kids on, at least on the offensive side of the ball, is I don't want you to memorize plays. I want you to memorize concepts. If we're running a stick route concept, we have a certain name for it, whether it's right or left. If we're going to run inside zone, we have the same name out of all of our formations for inside run or inside zone, and then we just tag it a little bit differently depending on how we want to block it. So, coming up with the plays, and coming up with the plays is not necessarily the hard part. It's being in the game and trying to make sure, okay, we know that this has been working. Let's continue with this. It didn't quite work as well as we wanted it to, and then we have to make the decision early and in the night. Is it not working because we're not blocking it right? Is it not working because it was just situationally not good? And then at times I'll ask the offense, hey, here's our situation. What do you guys feel comfortable with running? And so sometimes I leave it up to them in certain situations. So that way, if they feel confident, hopefully they can execute it better.
Shane Maxwell. So going off of that and seeing what you saw in the last few games, you have a game coming up this Friday, and are there any specific goals you have for the boys?
Yeah, big goal is we want to be the more physical team Friday night. We want to make sure that we execute. If we do that, we're going to be pretty successful in most games. Our biggest challenge this week, with it being homecoming, is staying focused. We've got to, even with everything going on outside of practice, with all the dress-up days and the dance coming up and all the extra homecoming festivities, which I think are awesome to have. It's always a little bit of an extra challenge trying to keep our kids focused. So that's probably goal number 1, is to stay focused. And goal 2 and 3 is be more physical, and then just execute what we know we can execute.
For your upcoming game, have you guys been preparing a lot for that, or is this, because you said it's more of a challenge this week?
Yeah, so we, like I said early on in the year, always try to focus on everything at 2 weeks at a time. If we had a little bit of film on them last week, so we as coaches, we started looking at that, and then practice wise, Monday through Thursday we'll focus specifically on who we have that week. And so yesterday we had our first practice preparing for Rolla on the physical side of things, and I felt like it went pretty good. We'll see what today and tomorrow bring before we have walkthrough Thursday.
So for the upcoming game, have you guys watched any film on Rolla, and do you plan on targeting any specific players or?
No, that's I always getting asked that question. But yeah, we've watched some film. We don't have a ton of film on them, but we have enough that we feel like we have a game plan. I don't know if they're going to listen to this, so I'm not going to say exactly, but their defensive fronts do lend themselves to some different outside runs that I think we can hit on them. And defensively, when we're looking at him from a defense, I can't think of what his name is, but number 3 for him wants to play a little bit. He has some speed to him, and so and special teams wise, if there's a couple kids we feel like we can target on kickoff to prevent big returns and could potentially lead to a couple kickoff recoveries.
Is that something that you guys do before going to play another team? Watch the videos?
Yeah, so we always on, it's kind of Saturdays and Sundays, us as coaches, we'll sit down and we'll watch. Saturdays we'll sit down and watch film on our own. Sundays we try to meet for about an hour, go over, hey, this is what we saw. What'd you see? Okay, from an offensive standpoint, this is what we want to do. From a defensive standpoint, this is what we want to do. Special teams, this is where we want to attack. And so that helps us get the game plan together, helps us kind of see what their tendencies are. And then Monday, we'll bring the boys in a little bit earlier than what we normally have practice, so that way we can watch film together from our game Friday and then watch film on the next team that we're going to be playing. So that way we have a good idea going into the week. We do, as coaches, watch film throughout the week as well, and then we can see that the kids are watching film, and it's kind of been one of the things, extra little things we've had to teach a little bit this year, is how to watch film and how to prepare, so that way we're not just watching it just to watch it, we're watching it with a little bit of purpose.
So to move on from the game plan, this Friday it's kind of a big game in the sense that it's the alumni homecoming.
Yep.
So is there a specific type of culture or crowd that you hope to see at the game and atmosphere that you want to experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping, a little personal, but I'm hoping I have a little bit of family here. I've had quite a bit of family come through these halls. I'm hoping that we have, everybody. In essence, I would love to have everybody that's ever graduated to be here and fill the stands. I'd love for this to be the loudest crowd we've had all year and to have the most pride and be able to just look on our side and see nothing but purple. And hopefully we have enough that our stands are over full and we have people standing around the track, on the outside of the track, all the way around. I think that would be pretty cool. And just, the atmosphere of it, hoping that we are loud. We have a lot of alumni that are here and proud and just cheering us on to a victory. All right. Thank you.